When you're making a propositional claim that S is P, or the class of all S are P, guess what? You're in the realm of making veridical claims. What that means is your claim is making a posit about truth, that one thing belongs to another. And this is an act of judgment and predication. Therefore, if you're making acts of judgment or predication, if you're appealing to logic and saying it works, then guess what? You're in the domain of making truth claims. And if you make a truth claim, yes, you cannot just assert a truth claim. You have to provide justification for that truth claim. So Matt is incorrect in that. In his analysis, Matt Dillahunty, that is, his analogy that he used was, look, it just works. Again, the question is that you want to bring up when somebody asserts that it just works. Works for what? Logic just is. Is what? Nobody says of a subject, it simply is. A tree is, because somebody's going to want to know, tree is what? Tree is a plant, tree is a house, tree is green. So that's a nonsensical statement that can neither be true or false. In fact, some things and assertions are terrible, terribly false. But did you know that some things are so bad, they don't even rise to the level of being false? They're meaningless. Saying that logic is not even a false statement. It hasn't even got to that level. It's a meaningless statement because it needs a predicate. If I just say all S are, you're going to think that I'm either having a stroke, or you're going to say, look, he's giving verbal diarrhea here. That doesn't make any sense. There's no meaning to that statement. So that's the first thing I say. You need to make complete sentences. Didn't we learn that in grade school? Matt, we need to make complete sentences. Complete your sentence with a predicate. Logic is what? Second of all, if you say logic works, you want to press your opponent and say works for what? When we say something works, what we have is a goal in mind, a telos, an end in which, for example, if I say this pen works, you're going to ask, this pen or marker works for what? I might say, well, it works good for throwing it in my objector's face. Oh, you might respond, well, that's not what pens are meant to, markers are meant to do. Well, what are they meant to do? Well, they're meant to write on whiteboards. They're meant to do various things. Throwing them in your opponent's face is not one of them. So again, that you need to press. When somebody presents that sort of objection, you need to press the objector and say, works for what? Now, of course, they'll probably give an answer. Well, it works to give us truth, but then you've got them. If you're in the domain of truth, you're going to have to justify that. You cannot just assert that these things work. Why? We have not established that our minds are capable of perceiving reality correctly. We have not established that logic or even deductive syllogisms or inductive work at all for establishing probability or actually truth. So in an argument, you cannot simply allow your opponent just to assume things without justifying them. So that's what I would say there. I hope that answers. Well, let me just return real quick. Again, they are going to pick a goal. It works for this, and you can also call them out on, well, whatever end or goal that you choose is arbitrary. For example, somebody could say, I built a really amazing bomb and it works. It works for what? It works for the science fair. It works for wiping everybody out. Again, is that something that you want to do, that you ought to do? And so that gets you within the realm of normativity, of which the materialists and atheists cannot account for.